Depictions of bird-like creatures have been found all over the ancient world, in Mesopotamia and Egypt, and even all the way across the ocean in the Mayans and Aztecs. Why did cultures all around the world just all independently come up with the same allegedly fictitious anthropomorphic bird? The ruins left behind by one of these ancient civilizations are rumored to have been discovered and then covered up in Antarctica as well. A lot of controversy behind these. I actually made another video about it, so check it out if you want to know more. They were allegedly uncovered during an expedition led by Captain Robert Falcon Scott in 1912. Fast forward a couple years to 1946 for yet another Antarctic expedition, this time led by Admiral Richard Byrd. Robert Falcon Scott? Admiral Richard Byrd? Okay, these are definitely coincidences. Anyway, we were fresh out of World War II, and Admiral Byrd was tasked with mapping out sites for potential future military sites in the South Pole. While scouting, him and his crew stumbled on something that no one in the world would have ever expected, and he documented it all in his personal diary, which didn't make the final cut of his official publication and was discovered by his son years after his death. In here, he recounts a mind-boggling story. As he flies over Antarctica, he passes over some mountains and discovers an enormous opening in the icy surface. Him and his squadron fly into it, and all of a sudden, they're surrounded by a luscious green landscape of grass and forests. He continues on, seeing giant creatures roaming around him, and he's brought to a shimmering rainbow city made of crystal. He's surrounded by these flying disc-shaped objects that lead him to the ground, and he's brought to a tall being called the Master. Highly advanced beings living in a futuristic city inside the Earth? Yup, it's the infamous Hollow Earth theory. And yeah, all of this is in his diary. And to be clear, Admiral Byrd was one of the most decorated and highly celebrated officers in the American military. He wrote this diary during his prime years, not when he became old, so dismissing it all as a senile crackpot's journal doesn't make any sense. In the diary, he talks about meeting this tall being who tells him they're disappointed in humanity and are afraid that we might nuke ourselves into extinction. And this is around the time we started doing nuclear testing. Maybe this was our first glimpse of the real erosion bird? Bird-like gods, entrances to underground worlds in Antarctica with tall beings. Kinda checks out. And maybe these beings and all the flying discs mentioned are also related to all the UFO sightings we've been seeing in the past couple years. Apparently, Admiral Byrd really wanted to share these findings, but was ordered by the military to stay silent about it. Along with bird-like beings, records of inner Earth civilizations have been reported by many, if not almost every ancient society of our past. Buddhists have the subterranean kingdom of Agartha. Ancient Indians have Patala. The Mayans got Xibalba, an underworld civilization, which is called Chico Mostok for the Aztecs. Ancient African and other native cultures talk about subterranean cavern spirits. The Sumerians knew it as Kur, Babylonians Urkala. Ancient Chinese Diyu, Japanese Yomi. Ancient Egyptian, Greek, Roman, and even Celtics all had myths of an underground world inhabited by superior beings, some of whom were cast out of this utopia onto the surface of Earth and started humanity as we currently know it. Could this even be the original Garden of Eden? And just like the flood myth that appears in every single ancient civilization, when stories are repeated this often, we have to ask ourselves, what if they actually happened? These giant holes have been reported to be seen at the poles on numerous occasions. In 1829, a fisherman named Olaf Janssen claims to have sailed through a polar opening and into the planet's interior, where he met a race of tall beings, giants. In 1985, a naval engineer team at McMurdo Station in the South Pole reports seeing circular aircraft flying above an area called the Beardmore Glacier. They couldn't investigate it because the area was a no-fly zone, obviously. But at one point, they get an emergency call from an injured crew member that needs immediate evacuation. In order to get to him on time, they needed to fly through the Beardmore Glacier. And when they did, they reported seeing almost exactly what Admiral Byrd documented. A giant football field-sized opening, some sort of entrance in the ice leading deep beneath the surface. And when they get back to the station, a man in a black suit arrives, telling them that they did not see what they just saw. Are these the entrances to the hidden underground lands of our past, like Agartha, and the true home of the erosion bird?